Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question comes to us from a viewer, thanks to Spiteful AZ, who also tells me that this question is part of the True Stories collection, and a similar event happened at the big event in Vegas over the past weekend. Very cool. Amy attacks with grizzly bears and Krothuss. She uses Krothuss' ability targeting grizzly bears, and then responds to that ability by playing Serpentine Ambush, also targeting grizzly bears. What happens? Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to know for this question here is this fact about copy effects. If you're copying an object, then in general, you're not going to be copying any of the continuous effects that happen to be also acting on that object. What that means for this case here is that the grizzly bears token that's created is just going to be a normal plain Jane grizzly bears. It's not going to be a 5/5 and it's not going to be a serpent. None of the continuous effects from the Serpentine Ambush are going to be copied. The token is going to look exactly the same as a grizzly bear's token that would be generated if there was no Serpentine Ambush played. Well, that was kind of a bummer, but here's something that might get your mood back up. You see, the Krothuss' ability checks to see if the targeted creature is any of those special creature types, and when it does so, it does take into account any continuous effects that are acting on it. Accordingly, because the grizzly bears happens to be a serpent at this time, that means that you will be getting an extra token out of this deal. Just, it's going to be the same thing as before, a normal grizzly bears that doesn't have any special extra bonus stuff added on it. It's just going to copy the printed text on the normal grizzly bears. But still, I think it's pretty cool that you get a little bit of extra value out of this one. Okay, so now that we've got that one sorted, let's do an extra challenge question. Let's say Amy uses Krothuss' ability targeting a Faceless Haven that she's also attacking with. What would happen then? Go ahead and pause the video if you need some more time to think, or go ahead and rewind and watch some stuff over if you wanted to review the previous situation. Ready? Okay, so there's a couple of points that I hope everybody was able to pick up on. The first one is that the Faceless Haven does indeed have one of the special creature types that Krothuss looks for, and so you will indeed be getting a second token. Now, it doesn't matter that the Krothuss is going to see that it has all four of those special creature types due to the fact that Faceless Haven has, every creature type. The check that Krothuss does is a simple binary yes or no. It either will have any of those types or it won't. And if it does have any of those four types, then you're getting an extra token. You won't get additional extra tokens if you happen to have more. Okay, so the second thing that I wanted everybody to be able to pick up on is that when you're going to make these extra Faceless Haven tokens, that's not going to be copying any of the extra stuff that Faceless Haven has. So, for example, the Faceless Haven tokens are not going to be animated, because that's also a continuous effect that's acting on the original Faceless Haven. So when the Faceless Haven tokens enter the battlefield, they're just going to be normal land, non-animated Faceless Havens. So with that, you might be interested in knowing that rule there, which says that if you're trying to put something that isn't a creature onto the battlefield attacking, well, it still gets put onto the battlefield, but it's not attacking. Only creatures can attack. The other interesting thing is that with Krothuss, it says that the creature gets put into the battlefield tapped. Now, there isn't anything saying that you can't put the tokens into play tapped, so that part still does happen, even though the Faceless Haven has Vigilance, which means that it probably was not tapped at the time this was taking place. The copy effect also does not copy the status of the original permanent, and so that means that the tokens will be tapped and not untapped, which is a little bit less useful than would be ideal. If you've got any other questions about similar types of situations and how Krothuss would interact with them, I'd encourage everybody to check out this video that I made a while ago, which goes over a lot of different types of situations that are very similar to this. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.